everyone. Welcome to my channel. Uh-oh. Where is it? Right here. Okay, cool. Alright guys. I wanted to talk about this lady that I just saw on TikTok. I wanted to just respond to her show. So without much said, let's just dive right into it, alright?
50% of the time, and the other 50% you're wondering why your boyfriend would rather talk to some random 50-year-old dude in a bar instead of you. So if I could go back and tell my 20-something self one thing, it would be this. Learn to leave even if it means you'll be alone for a little while. Learn to leave even if it means you're gonna hate the next 10 dates you go on. And learn to leave not because you don't love him, but because you know someone else can love you so much better.
Let's watch the show.
Let's talk about how one of the most difficult things you'll ever do is leaving the man you love for the man you know you deserve. Story time. When I was in my 20s, I dated a guy who made me want to create wedding hashtags out of our names. Before I fell asleep at night, I thought about all the ways we were perfect for each other, how we were both only children, how we were both weird but like in the same way, and most importantly, how he made me feel. Because this was the guy who one night, as I was apologizing for crying over God knows what, turned to me and said, "Anna, you don't have to be sorry because life isn't about being perfect, it's about being real, and don't you think that would have made a great line at our wedding that never happened?" And the thing is, all of the above was true and real, but the following things were also true and real. That he was the kind of guy who brought me to a sports bar and decided to ignore me all night and talk to some random 50-year-old dude instead. That he was the kind of guy who got so drunk one night that he couldn't really understand I meant it when I said no means no. And most importantly, that he was the kind of guy who was always halfway in and halfway out. And if I'd been more honest with myself, I would have realized that last point a heck of a lot sooner. Because here's the thing, ladies, loving a man does not mean he's your man forever, and most of the guys you'll date and fall in love with will break your heart, and that's okay. What's not okay is staying in a relationship where you feel seen 50% of the time, and the other 50% you're wondering why your boyfriend would rather talk to some random 50-year-old dude in a bar instead of you. So if I could go back and tell my 20-something self one thing, it would be this. Learn to leave even if it means you'll be alone for a little while. Learn to leave even if it means you're gonna hate the next 10 dates you go on. And learn to leave not because you don't love him, but because you know someone else can love you so much better.
Alright, so you guys heard her nugget of wisdom. And I believe to the ladies, to them, it makes a whole lot of sense. And yes, she has some pointers there. I'll give her due credit. Many of the times we're stuck loving somebody that we know is not good for us. We basically love somebody to the point that we forget that they have to also show us some reciprocity. Okay, they have to love us also. They have to care for us too. You know, love one way is not a good feeling. And we have to always learn to live when the other person is not giving us their best, especially when we have asked on numerous occasions for them to show us some love too. Love is something that we show naturally. When we like something, we go after it. When we like something, we want to care for it. Many times people are so hurt that sometimes when they see love, they kind of respond to it in a whole different ways. But I wanted us to just listen to a couple of things that she said. She said, being in a relationship where 50% of the time you are seen, you are giving attention to. This is something a lot of ladies fail to understand. That if somebody gives you attention all the time, then they don't really have time to give to other things, you know, that make them attractive, be it work, be it friends, and so on and so forth. You can't expect your partner to give you all that attention. What you should expect from your partner is one thing, and that is this: love and respect. I think these two things are very, very important. You cannot expect even up to 30% of attention from your partner. I think that's something that, you know, like if the person can give you 30% of your attention, yes, the person is doing a phenomenal job, but I think the attention needs to be in other places. The other part again, she said, him coming home drunk and not knowing when no means no. I think people have to understand one thing, that when you have a partner that have three things, and I usually say three things that you should never deal with: gambling, gambling, drinking, or drug use, and the last part is usually basically not showing you any form of respect. I think those three things you need to check immediately, because those things often lead to a dangerous relationship. Now, this is coming from only from her own perspective, But I'll say this for every other person who's in a relationship. Guys, you need to check these three things: respect, drug use, and gambling. If the person does not have control over any of these problems, well, guys, you guys need to leave. They are not suitable for you. Now, she said he took her out and he spent the better part of the day talking to somebody else. I think that was disrespectful. If he didn't want her there, he should have just moved on. It's as simple as that. But that's assuming that she's telling the truth. Now, guys, overall, I can tell you this: you gotta learn when to leave a relationship. And like I said, it's the three rules that I live by: respect. If they don't show you respect or love, if they don't give you, if they have gambling addiction, or they have drinking or drug addiction, guys, please leave these people. Don't waste any more of your time dealing with them. Just walk away. If there's anything I missed from the video, just let me know. But other than that, I think almost everything else is covered in regards to what she just said. So let's just watch it one more time, and then I'll get back to it.
Let's talk about how one of the most difficult things you'll ever do is leaving the man you love for the man you know you deserve. Story time.
So basically, knowing the man that you deserve. You don't deserve anybody. That's number one. You do not deserve anybody. However, what you deserve is to be treated appropriately. That means with respect. Okay? That's what you deserve. But other than that, you don't deserve anybody. That's one thing ladies need to get into their mind. You don't deserve anybody. Look at her. She's basically dressing up like a clown, and she's talking about deserve. When the man himself should deserve to see her in her natural form, he doesn't see her in her natural form. He sees her as a clown with all that makeup. Right? So that's a problem. Alright, moving on.
When I was in my 20s, I dated a guy who made me want to create wedding hashtags out of our names. Before I fell asleep at night, I thought about all the ways we were perfect for each other. How we were both only children, how we were both weird, but like in the same way, and most importantly, how he made me feel. Because this was...
I cannot blame her for that, for the way she felt. No one can blame her for that. You can only simply say, hey, when you like somebody a lot, many times you see the person that you want to see. People often say, well, you're an adult, you should be able to see. No, it doesn't work like that. The mind has a funny way of canceling out a lot of the bad behaviors that other people have. And as a result of that, you don't see the true person. So many other times I can't blame that kind of person for that, but hey, it is what it is.
This was the guy who one night, as I was apologizing for crying over God knows what, turned to me and said, Anna, you don't have to be sorry because life isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. And don't you think that would have made a great line at our wedding that never happened?
It's about being real. Okay?
Happened. And the thing is, all of the above was true and real, but the following things were also true and real. That he was the kind of guy who brought me to a sports bar and decided to ignore me all night and talk to some random 50-year-old.
So it was a sports bar. Maybe there was something going on. Maybe there was a show going on that day. He was more interested in what's going on. Now, I'm going to say this, guys. Please, please, and please, ladies. If you're going to any place with your hubby, it shouldn't be an area whereby his attention is divided. I don't care what the situation is. If you're going on a date, it should be somewhere that is quiet for you and him to spend some quality time to get to know each other, to spend some quality time building memories. This is what you should be doing when you go out with your hubby, not anything else. So if the guy who took her to a sports bar basically was a sports bar, he forgot maybe she was one of the guys, and then instead of speaking to somebody that's a little bit more knowledgeable, and then got involved in that way. So
old dude instead. That he was the kind of guy who got so drunk one night that he couldn't really understand I meant it when I said no means no. And most importantly, that he was the kind of guy who was always halfway in and halfway out. And if I'd been more honest with myself, I would have realized that last point a heck of a lot sooner. Because here's the thing, ladies, loving a man does not mean he's your man forever.
Well, that is true. He's not your man forever. That is why you have to work on making sure that the relationship continues. Another part she said is he's halfway in and halfway out. That means, guys, that the guy wasn't so sure about her. She displayed some tendencies that wasn't wife material, and as a result of that, he couldn't commit to her. He looked upon her as a liability to some degree. That's why he did what he did. Alright? So the guy has to still be a dude. A lot of ladies often fail to understand one thing, that when a man looks at relationship, he looks at it from one corner, and that is almost like a business sense. Is she somebody that can represent me when I'm not there? Is she somebody that I can trust with whatever I'm doing, to her if she's not there? If is she somebody I can trust to go to this place and be on her best behaviors? These are some of the things a man looks at when he's looking at a woman that he's considering for a wife. And for him to be halfway in, halfway out, that means she was displaying tendencies that would mean that she'll be a liability, going down the line. And I think that's what he was thinking about. But then again, she brought up him drinking. It might be a way to throw us off, to simply say, hey, he has flaws and so on and so forth. So I don't know. Like I said, guys, if somebody, there are three things that I use to qualify if you should continue in a relationship, and that is love and respect. A person is not addicted to any kind of drugs, and then the last part is gambling. If three of these things are there, please just walk away. All right, guys, I've been your host. 5 minutes or less review. Signing out on my reactionary video. All right.